Brianna Joy Gray was fired from the Hill earlier this evening. I know that there have been some contentious conversations that have happened earlier, including a number of Zionists that have come on and have tried to, goad her into trying to react in a negative way. As you can see here, Brianna put out this tweet a little earlier this evening. It finally happened. The Hill has fired me. There should be no doubt that that Rising has a clear pattern of suppressing speech, particularly when it's critical of the state of Israel. This is why they fired Katie Halper. It was only a matter of time before they fired me. They also fired Kim Iverson. Don't forget that. Obviously, she's going to use her, she's savvy. I give her credit. You can continue to follow me on my patreon.com/Bad Faith Podcast. No, Crystal and Saga were not fired. They ultimately decided to start their own media company, which is fine. I think they've done a pretty good job. Very good job, actually, for being honest. The thing about Brie is that, and this is why not a lot of people are going to garner too much sympathy in her direction, is that she is very career-minded, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, she definitely has opportunistic tendencies from time to time. But I think she is right on a number of key issues. Anytime you're willing to put yourself out there on these very important points, I do think that you have to be willing to take that stand. Did Brie know that she was going to be fired? That's possible. It's possible that she felt that this was an inevitable circumstance that she was not going to run away from. And, to that end, I do give her credit for that. That does take courage. It really does. It takes courage to speak truth to power. And she has a history of doing that. She has a history of also saying things that I don't agree with. But I also believe that we're getting to the point now where the suppressive tactics are going to take on a whole new level of intensity. I think Brie is just the beginning. But you're going to see the exposure of this broken system is going to become more and more profound as we go forward. This is not going to get better. The IDF has already made it clear that that what's going on in Gaza will continue until at least the end of the year. Think about how many more dead bodies are going to pile up as a result. There has been a suggestion that there may be dead as many as 100,000 Palestinians have now been killed. And what ultimately is to come of this, which I think is something that we cannot ignore. And I think in a lot of ways, people just kind of either want to ignore that reality or they are acknowledging it and they're just simply okay with it. If you don't like Briahna Joy Gray, that's fine. But like many a times before has been stated, when you think about the importance of free speech and what that represents, the idea is to protect the speech for those that you don't agree with, not the ones that you do. We're living in a time right now where people have a tendency to want to protect the speech of those that they agree with, and they're okay with the suppression of those that they don't. I, for one, believe in the ability for people to have these conversations where they don't necessarily agree. I know there are people in the chat who do not agree with the rabbi saying that he supports Joe Biden if he were voting in the state of Pennsylvania. And if I disagree with him, who gives a shit? That's his prerogative. I'm not going to hound somebody if they choose to exercise their vote, just like I have very close friends and family that are going to vote for Trump. That's how it is. I know people that are going to vote for RFK. I know tons of people that are going to vote for Jill Stein. That's what free and fair elections are about. Now, if somebody tells me they're voting for Debbie Wasserman Schultz, that I have a big problem with. But I still support their right to express themselves, because that's freedom of choice. I do think, I agree with you guys. I do think that the Hill is going to suffer for this decision. I think that Brie did bring a lot of viewership to the channel. I think Ravi Salve is terrible. I think he is the embodiment of white privilege in a lot of ways, and you know me, I ain't into that shit. But he is, I'm telling you, he looks like he should just show up to work every day with a V-neck sweater tied around his neck. Like he's ready for the country club. That's how he comes off, completely. And of course he's a libertarian, economic libertarian across the board. Why? Because he's from privilege. It's easy to be that way when you already have it made. I think that the channel is going to suffer. I do. I think Brie will be fine. I do think that he is, or she, excuse me. I think that Brie is going to land on her feet. I think that she will absolutely be all right. The Bad Faith podcast, or, whatever channel ultimately ends up coming as a result of it. It was probably a good gig. It probably paid well. But you have to ask yourself, was Brie warned? And then she said, fuck it. I'll take my chances. I think it's probably the latter. I think she did say, I'll take my chances. And she just went for it. And eventually they said, all right, that's enough. And David, you're probably right. So, Colin, like I said, I don't know if there's any clips that you can drop, regarding Jill Stein's conversation with Jordan the other day, or anything that Brie had recently said pertaining to. I know that she gave an interview the other day where there was a Zionist who came on and basically tried to goad her, especially on the conversation of rape, which I thought was completely effed up, to say the least. And Brie wasn't having anything of it. And I believe that that was the last time that she was on. I'm not familiar with this particular interview. It'll be interesting. Sable, Jessica Burbank absolutely will be elevated. She's a pretty girl. She's very good at her job. She's done some really good work with More Perfect Union, especially on High Speed Rail. If you guys haven't seen that video, highly recommend checking it out. Again, it's the quality of the work that really matters. But Jessica's going to probably get that same talking to. If you cross the line on this particular issue, we're coming for you, and that's it. She'll have to make that decision for herself in her career, and she's pretty young. I don't know how much younger than Brie she is, but that's a decision that is going to have to be made. So we're going to play a quick clip. This is where things went off the rail with Brie, and I do believe this may have been the last segment that she filmed the other day.
Thank you. Me too. And I really hope that you specifically will believe women when they say that they got hurt.
All right. Thanks for joining. Stick around. More Rising coming.
I do believe that this is the last clip that Brie did. And of course, the person that is talking here is a Zionist. And again, here's the thing. Do I think it's possible that there are these extenuating circumstances where this Zionist truth, if you will, is actually true? That there are Hamas individuals, terrorists, whatever, that have committed sexual violence against women? Sure, it's very possible. Do you just want to pretend that a genocide isn't going on and that your people are perpetrating it? And you fucking know that they are? But this is what supremacy looks like in real time. Our people are worth more than yours. We'll kill them all if we have to. And if you don't believe me, go and look at some of the threads on Jen's Facebook page and see what the Zionists really think of Palestinians and what they really think of people who don't agree with them. They're bloodthirsty as anybody. They think it is perfectly acceptable to kill them all, as they like to say. Mow the lawn. That is a big part of it.